everyone, it's Moose, and thank you so much for joining me back here. I have had my channel here on BookTube for about 3 years, 2.5, almost 3 years now. January, I think, will make 3 years. So about 2.5. But I have been watching BookTube for way longer than that, since I was in like high school. So I have had a lot of exposure to a lot of different books over those years. And today I want to talk about all of the books that BookTube has made me read. I'm sure there are more than what's on this list. I just went through my Goodreads and looked at all the ones that I read, either because it was recommended by a booktuber I watch, maybe it was hyped on BookTube at one point, whatever the reason. I read these books because I saw them on BookTube. And these are in no particular order, so let's just jump into it. And let me just say that a lot of these on this list are series. I'm not going to put the whole series, but I'll say if I've read the whole series or not. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about each individual book in that series, otherwise this video would be way too long. So let's just jump right into it. First up, I have Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, I have read both. This one was very, very hyped on BookTube. I would still say it is very hyped still on BookTube. And I read it when I first started my channel as a booktuber. It's fine. It's not one of my favorite books or anything like that. Yeah, I think I was caught up in the hype when I first read it. I think I wanted to enjoy it a lot more than I actually did. And at the time that I made a video on it, I was caught up in the hype and stuff like that. But looking back on it a couple years later, it's fine. It's good, but it's not one of my new favorite books or anything like that, like it is for a lot of other people. Next up, I have Hunted by, I don't remember the author's name, Spooner, maybe? Anyways, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I read this one based on the recommendation of Haley in Bookland, I think. I watched a lot of her throughout school. She was one of the bigger booktubers that I watched. And I watched mostly her stuff. I've since haven't watched her as much. I found other people that I kind of jive with their reading taste a little bit more, but that's besides the point. Hunted was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It was fine. Again, not a new favorite, but it was good. The Cruel Prince, I read this whole trilogy. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing. I need to reread it because I was, I don't know, a little disappointed by the end, by the last book. I feel like I'm a minority in that. I feel like most people raved about it, so I do need to reread this one, but I really enjoyed the first two. It was great. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Is that her name? I think so. I have read this whole trilogy. What is it? Caraval, Legendary, and Finale, I think is the name of the books. I've read the whole trilogy. Excellent. I read Caraval again when I first started my BookTube channel, and I just recently read the last two this year, actually. And I personally think that the books progressively got better. Next up, I have Illuminae by J. Kristoff and is it Amy Kaufman, maybe? I don't have these books in front of me. I just literally have a list on my phone of the books that I've read because of BookTube, so I'm trying to remember the authors just off my head. Huh, excellent. Excellent. I need to finish this series. This series I have not finished. I have only read the first one. I've only read Illuminae. I would like to read the other two. I think it's a trilogy. I think there's only 3. I would like to reread Illuminae before I do that though. So, but blew me away. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. Can't say enough good things. Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Excellent. I rave about Naomi Novik a lot here on my channel, even though I've only read 2 books of hers. I think she is becoming one of my new authors. This one is supposed to be a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite princess. Bella's my favorite princess. So I tend to read a lot of those retellings. But it's very loose if it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I think a lot of her retellings are loosely based on the idea, but in terms of following the plot structure, not really, if that makes sense. Her writing style is very different, but I love it. It's great. Next up, I have Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have only read the first one. I've only read Scythe. What's the other ones? Thunderhead and The Toll, I think. I have not read those. I don't plan on reading those. I think Scythe, I understand. Again, I haven't read them, so I don't really know how the story ends, but I understand why there would be more of like a story arc to continue on with the series. But personally, I don't feel compelled to find out what it is. I think the first one was fine on its own, and quite frankly, I didn't care much for the romance element included in it. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary. I think friendship would have been enough. I don't think a romantic element needed to be added. Next up, I have A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I have read this whole series, including the new one, A Court of Silver Flames. Is that the new one with Nesta? I have reread this series, actually. So this is one that BookTube made me read and BookTube made me love. Yeah, it's good. It's a Fae series that most people already know about, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, I'm pretty sure is the author. I'm pretty sure it's the same author that wrote An Enchantment of Ravens. I think this was overhyped on BookTube. A lot of people raved about it. It was good. It was fine. I was not blown away by any means, though. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I read this whole series. Did I finish it this year? I might have finished it last year. Fairly recently, I've read this series. Again, it was good. I listened to them on audiobook. I think I would have enjoyed them a little bit more if I'd read them physically, though. But I didn't. I listened to them on audiobook. So they were fine. They weren't any of my new favorites. Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. I'm impressed with myself for remembering these authors, because I did not think I remembered authors that well. I read this whole series. Bummer. Not what I was expecting at all. I'm a big fan of like royalty tropes. I just enjoy reading about royalty. If I could say it right, that would be great. And just what I was given based on the description of it was not what I was expecting, I don't guess. I don't know. In my head, when I read the description of like 3 different princesses fighting for the crown, they were all in like the same place at least. I don't know. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't that impressed by it, to be honest. If I hadn't listened to these on audiobook, if I had read them physically, I might have DNF'd the series. But I didn't put that much effort into it. I listened to them as audiobooks. So I did finish it. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I have only read the first one. I'm kind of itching to continue on with the series, which surprises me because I didn't really enjoy Throne of Glass. I found it kind of boring and honestly debated DNFing the series. I can never say that correctly the first time. I try to say it too fast. But yeah, super hyped. Of course, a lot of Sarah J. Maas's stuff is super hyped. Pretty much all of her stuff. Again, though, I liked ACOTAR. So I think I would like Throne of Glass if I could just get into the series. People have told me to get past the first couple books and then it gets better. So, I don't know. I've read the first one, though. The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. Adult fantasy. Kind of disappointed by it. Not really what I wanted, to be honest. I've explained this before, though, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But yeah, BookTube made me read it because it was super hyped on BookTube. Everybody seemed to love it. The Selection Series by Kira Cass. I read this at the beginning of this year, actually, so we're getting into my recent reads. Good fluff read. Isn't it one of my new favorites? No. Will I reread it over and over again? No. But I'm not disappointed to have read it. It was fun. And Ember in the Ashes by... Is it Saba Tahir? I've only read the first one. I have the next 2 on my TBR shelf, but I listened to the first one on audiobook, and I can't find the next 2 on audiobook on any of the platforms that I read. I read a lot on Scribd and Libby. So, I've only read the first one, but it was great. I think this one deserves the hype on BookTube. The next one. The next one is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I have read the 2 books in the series that are out right now. I've read The Rage of Dragons and The Fires of Vengeance. some of my new favorite books. I've raved about these enough here on my channel. Phenomenal. But I think I don't really hear a lot of people talk about this one, but I think I saw someone that I watch read it. It might have been Amy over at Harvard and Pages. It might have been Amy. Amy, if it was you, thank you. One of my new favorite books. Anyways, I saw someone mention it and I was like, wow, that looks good. So I read it and wow, it was good. From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Is that how you say Armentrout? I think it's Armentrout. I have read all of the books out so far. The series is not complete yet. From Blood and Ash, A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, A Crown of Gilded Bones. I've read all 3 of them. Phenomenal. Can't wait to reread them in all honesty. It hardcore gives me ACOTAR vibes, just with vampires and werewolves instead of fae. Snow Like Ashes? Is it Sarah Rosh? Is that the author of this one? Maybe. Snow Like Ashes, I have not finished this series, trilogy. I think it might be a trilogy. I know there's at least 3 books. I don't know if there's 4. Anyways, I've only read the first one. I bought this one years ago, back in like high school. I think again because of Haley and Bookland. And it was good, but it took me until this year to read it. I do plan on continuing on with the series. It's just not something that's on a priority list of mine. Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, I think is the author of this one. I read this one because Books with Ange recommended it to me. I said I wanted to read some more Christian fiction. She recommended this one and it was great. I really enjoyed it. And then the last one, the most recent one I have read because of BookTube, is The Shadows Between Us. I think this might be the only one on this list that I'm not confident in the author. I have no idea who the author is for this one. I have no idea. But it is my most recent read because of BookTube. Again, I don't think anyone specifically recommended this one. I just think I saw a lot of people mention it on BookTube. BookTube made me read it. It was good. A little disappointing. I don't know. I was expecting something a little spicier, if I'm being honest. Wasn't a whole lot of spice. But it was fine. So yeah, those are the books that BookTube has made me read, whether because certain people have mentioned them, they've been recommended to me one-on-one, the hype has just been on BookTube, I've seen people mention them, whatever the reason. Here are some books that BookTube made me read. I'm sure there are more that I am forgetting about or maybe didn't log on my Goodreads, but this list is long enough, I think. I think it suffices. Let me know down below what books BookTube has made you read and maybe even recommend some more to me. One of the best parts of BookTube is finding new books that I love. I'm very thankful to have a community that how many times is my voice going to crack in this video? I'm very thankful to have a community that I can go to get book recommendations. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. You guys are awesome. I'm so thankful for you. My voice keeps cracking. And we'll be back here next time, guys. See ya!